So just laying down some things. My Expanded Universe video, I actually did that all over Twitter. There were so many replies, likes, replies, and people claiming, yeah man, and they felt what I was laying down. And I was like, yeah, I'm just laying it down. That's how important that video is. It's that important. I made deep points on there, it took a lot of research, and it is scripted. There was this one dude, he was so affected by that video, he showed me his entire Expanded Universe collection, twice over that. Twice. I was amazed. This dude has some obscure Star Wars work, and he showed it to me. And he loved what I stated in my video. And other people on Twitter were all over what I was stating. They were all over that shit. People reached out to me from the Expanded Universe community over that, and I appreciate you. They got affected by it that much. People from the EU community were all over me over that video when I posted it. And after, too, I still get comments on my videos. I got responses on Elden Ring and Dark Souls. I just recently got another response on the prequel video. P.S. Got a shout out to the 200th subscriber. I got responses about Dark Souls formula, and I had responded to their points and they responded to mine. When I laid down my points about the open design and stuff, they stopped responding. So I actually made legitimate points they couldn't even respond to. It's nuts. Instead, I ended up shouting out Gravity Kills because I forgot and he needed my help. I just wanted to help him. Me and Richie's played multiplayer zombies maps. This dude was so talented he actually got to the pyramid part of the moon map. That's the entire Easter egg. It is the single hardest Easter egg in COD zombie history. He also played Dark Souls and mastered the game so much he plays on New Game Plus mode. He can post that on YouTube, people will see that and spread word of mouth. Hey, look at this dude. He's a new YouTuber and yet he's playing Dark Souls on Plus mode. The skill this took, let's spread it around. And they will talk and talk because it's impressive. Do that shit, you'd be surprised. In 2019, I finally cracked the code of zombies and wrote down multiple steps learning multiple maps. Like Classified, my fave from Black Ops 4, next to Night of the Dead, and 9. That shit was insane. It actually had a gladiator. Then I said, hey, I'm learning this shit well. Let me come over to BO2. And I figured out Mob of the Dead, solo. Then I went on public matches, got the acid gat without even speaking to people on the microphone. I could have used my mic back then. It still worked back then. Then I decided not to, and I got the acid gat 4 times solo, multiple times on public matches. We were that in sync. It was crazy. I learned multiple zombies maps starting in 2019. That's when I figured it out and wrote it down. When I was at Richie's house, we played every single Halo. The original collection before Master Chief on Xbox 360. It has Bungie's original art style, very different from what 343 would later do. We played them all, Halo Reach being amazing. Having this unique armor system, kind of like does 514, it was nuts. Then our friend Colin comes over. We've been friends for years. Colin comes over and he bought Dark Souls. It was a whole nother game back then. Here's the funny thing about memory. Back then, Dark Souls' camera was way closer to the character. It had way, and I do mean way more weight behind each hit. It was a whole new ballgame. Now it's still weighty, just a little different, and the camera's not as close. I've experienced Dark Souls this way all of a sudden. When I bought it in 2016, years after playing it at Richie's house. When Colin brought it over, we all hung out. Nick, Brian, my friends, we all hung out. It was really cool. We had our conflicts, but it was cool. And then, me and Richie and Colin, we played his 3DS, Star Fox 64, and 3DS. He had Super Nintendo. He had a Super Nintendo. So we also played, I believe, the original Star Fox. It was so incredible. I just love that shit. It was amazing. People say, oh well, Sora had no character development in KH1. If they don't shut the fuck, if they don't shut that bullshit up, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. If they don't shut that bullshit up, you play the end of the world, then come back to me. You play Hollow Bastion, then come back to me. Even in Deep Jungle in Peter Pan's world, there was still character development. If they don't shut that bullshit up, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Get the hell out of here. Game Boy, the video game console relic. That little piece of revolutionary technology was the Game Boy, especially the Game Boy SP that was made years later. The greatest Game Boy on the face of the earth. And if you go to the blue one, it had this amazing LED light screen. so you could see more clearly. GTA 4 has some of the best build-up and storytelling ever put in the series, with one, if not the single most well-written character in GTA history. The open world environment was huge, diverse, and fleshed out, with so many different missions and things to do in its open world environment. In GTA 5, even though the writing was tightly knit, and it had good storytelling, it had over-linear missions, and held your hand at every turn, and could only be completed in one way. It was the worst. The missions were limited, linear, and didn't give you any freedom. It was the most linear mission design ever. When you were done beating the game of GTA 5, there was absolutely nothing to do in its open world environment. Its open world may have looked good, but barely had any in-game content or missions, side activities, or things to do. When you beat the game, so you just rampage everything, struggling to find something to do in its open world design. Something to do after you beat the game. The game does have a few side quests, a mission like Strangers and Freaks. This is far and few between. Red Dead Redemption had so many different quest lines, side quests, some even tied into the story of a character. It had all this unique stuff in its open world environment in GTA 4, and GTA 4 let you do so much stuff even after you beat the game. GTA 5 was a huge departure in that department. The online was so greedy and cheap, you barely had enough money per mission, only enough to buy weapons and ammo. You had to pay bills and spend money, the money you just earned, and you didn't even get that much. This small amount of money, $30,000, is how much you get out of a survival mission, and that small amount is only given to you if you succeed past all the waves. Once you do this, most of the money will be spent on weapons, ammo, and bills, and if you decide to buy a car or something you like, you'd be wiping out your entire bank. And most of it can't be afforded unless you have hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not over $1 million. So the game pigeonholes you into having no choice but to buy shark cards just to have fun. It really sucks. This is what I'm laying down. And this was Tarragon, and I